Imagine a disease so strange, so uncontrollable that hundreds of people were taken by it, dancing, twirling, and leaping for days on end, until they collapsed from sheer exhaustion or worse, danced to their death. This isn't the plot of some bizarre fiction, it really happened. In 1518, an outbreak of mass dancing took over a small town in France. Historians still struggle to explain what caused this bizarre phenomenon. But today we're diving deep into one of history's strangest and most mysterious events, the Dancing Plague of 1518. Before we get into the fascinating history of this dancing epidemic, let's first understand the word plague. A plague typically refers to a contagious disease that spreads quickly and causes widespread suffering and death. The word plague comes from the Latin word plaga, meaning blow or strike, which was often used to describe divine punishment. It was coined in the Middle Ages and generally associated with devastating illnesses like the Black Death. But the dancing plague, how does uncontrollable dancing fit into this? Well, stay tuned because this story is about to get stranger than you can imagine. The dancing plague, also known as St. Vitus's dance, began in the summer of 1518 in Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, now modern-day France. It all started when a woman named Frau Trophaea suddenly began dancing in the streets. Her movements were uncontrolled and frantic. She danced for hours, then days without stopping. Over the course of a week, dozens of others joined her. Soon, over 400 people were dancing uncontrollably in the streets. They couldn't stop. Some danced until they collapsed from exhaustion. Others reportedly danced until they died from heart attacks, strokes, or sheer physical fatigue. The authorities called it a plague because it spread like wildfire, affecting hundreds, and no one knew how to stop it. It was as though the town had been cursed. This epidemic became known as St. Vitus's dance, after the saint who people believed could curse sinners with uncontrollable movement. But some also simply called it the dancing plague. Despite its odd nature, it was considered a real and terrifying outbreak. Local physicians were baffled. They ruled out supernatural causes, claiming it was due to hot blood, a theory that meant the body was overheated. To cure the dancers, authorities tried to exhaust them, even hiring musicians to keep them dancing, hoping they'd dance the illness out of their systems. Ironically, this made things worse. Eventually, a more spiritual approach was taken. The dancers were taken to a shrine dedicated to St. Vitus, where they were prayed over. Gradually, the dancing stopped, but the true cause remained a mystery. So why did this bizarre event occur? Historians and scientists have proposed several theories. Number 1, ergot poisoning. One of the most popular explanations is that the dancers were victims of ergot poisoning. Ergot is a fungus that grows on damp rye and produces a chemical similar to LSD. Consuming this contaminated grain could have caused hallucinations and muscle spasms, leading to the uncontrollable dancing. Number 2, mass hysteria. Another theory is that this was a case of mass hysteria, a psychological phenomenon where a group of people share the same extreme behavior due to stress or fear. During this time, the people of Strasbourg were facing famine, poverty, and disease. The collective trauma might have triggered this strange behavior. Number 3, religious fervor and superstition. In the 16th century, superstition was a powerful force. People believed that saints like St. Vitus could curse them with a dancing sickness if they displeased him. This fear could have been enough to create a kind of psychosomatic outbreak. Number 4, psychological stress. Some scholars believe the dancing plague was the result of psychological stress due to extreme hardship. Widespread suffering from hunger, disease, and religious turmoil might have caused the mind to break down and express itself through uncontrollable movement. Number 5, encephalitis or neurological disorder. Another theory is that this plague could have been caused by a neurological disorder that triggered uncontrollable movement, though evidence supporting this is limited. While these theories offer possibilities, the true cause remains elusive, making the dancing plague one of the most mysterious events in history. Now here are some amazing facts about the dancing plague that you might not know. First, it wasn't the only outbreak. Similar dancing plagues occurred in medieval Europe, with cases recorded as early as the 7th century. Second, dancers didn't stop, even for music. Musicians were hired to play, not to entertain, but in the hopes of driving the dancers to exhaustion. Surprisingly, music didn't seem to influence their movements. It was purely involuntary. Third, not everyone who danced survived. There are records of people dancing to death, though the exact number remains unclear. Fourth, it lasted for over a month. The plague continued from July to September 1518, during which time hundreds were affected. And fifth, the plague was specific to Europe. There are no records of such mass dance hysteria occurring anywhere else in the world during this time. While the dancing plague remains an unsolved mystery, it has had an impact on how we understand certain phenomena today. Modern psychologists use cases like this to study the effects of mass hysteria and the power of suggestion. It's a powerful reminder of how the mind can manifest physical symptoms when faced with extreme stress or fear. The event also serves as a historical example of how communities deal with unexplained mass behaviors, giving insight into human psychology and societal reactions to the unknown. The dancing plague of 1518 remains one of the most puzzling events in history, a blend of the supernatural, the psychological, and the unexplained. Could such an event happen today? What do you think caused this bizarre outbreak? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let us know your theories. And if you enjoyed unraveling this mystery with us, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more amazing deep dives into the weirdest moments in history. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the strangest mysteries remain unsolved.